So PBR obviously has not heeded the call to sponsor our show,
No.
but cue the tropical music, future TJ, who's editing this video.
Wasted away again. And how is this fake bill?
Yeah. Everyone's wasted here. Came in jacked. Had a taste. Not too bad, but it does taste like a Smirnoff Ice. So it's taken me back to, the first time I ever drank alcohol when I shouldn't have. Okay. Did you see that? Fucking
That was
fly.
incredible.
It's been a day, buddy. Let's talk the truth.
Well,
Let's
I
talk
want to
truth here.
I want to say something really, really quick. I know we're gonna get into Monday Night Raw later on
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah.
week, but tonight Becky Lynch cut a promo, and guess what she referred to Lyra Valkyria as?
Bird lady.
The Bird Lady. That's right. Becky Lynch has been listening to the House is Fake podcast. I'm convinced.
You know, I've been talking shit
We
on
should have
Becky Lynch.
We should have trademarked that.
Friend of the podcast, Becky Lynch. Taking our
Yeah.
shtick. I don't need the credit. It's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. How do you feel? You mentioned a little bit before we hit the record button, but how do you feel
Dude.
about not being there? Your first show ever.
20 years ago, I made a promise to myself that I would go to every single Monday night, every single WWE event that hit Arizona. This is really the first one that I've missed, and it was primarily just because I couldn't justify spending the money for this show. And quite frankly, I know we're recording this right before the main event. I'm sure maybe something crazy will happen during the main event. But it's not like I missed much either. But I am sad that I missed tonight. Mainly because some craziness with R-Truth happened. Our boy
Yeah.
R-Truth is back. And he stood on the announce table and cut off his dreads, saying, I am no longer R-Truth. I am Ron Killings, which is kind of close enough to his real name, Ronnie Killings. But yeah, it's
What do you think he
all right.
do you think he actually got let go? Because he and his son are making it seem like that he actually got let go.
I
But
think he
this
actually got let go, and I think Triple H is pissed that the people hijacked creative, because if you look back at Daniel Bryan, that was real heat. Triple H was really mad at the whole Daniel Bryan situation when Daniel Bryan got
oh
to where he
gosh.
was because of uh, the fans.
Yeah, dude, I mean, Evolution was supposed to kind of WrestleMania 30 was supposed to be like a WrestleMania Evolution.
Yeah.
But so the reason I ask, because I believed it until tonight, and now I'm like kind of, well, because cutting off your dreads, like that's I mean, maybe he's been wanting to anyways, so they just made it a part of the story.
Right.
But that's a pretty big thing, and I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't be just a, hey, I know we fired you last week, but how do you feel about chopping off all your hair? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why else he would agree to it, unless I'm sure, I mean, I'm sure they were like, I don't know if it was his real hair. That could have been it too. Maybe his dreads were not, like, they were just sewn in. Um there's a lot of things, I guess, but if he goes full bald, I am all for it.
What if he gets the little mini cinnamon bun rolls like he had back in the day? That was him, right?
I don't know.
Well, he had like the braids that kind of stuck out a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. He did. But you know what I was thinking? What if he what if all honest people, or the most honest people, are the bald people, in my opinion.
That's accurate because I'm
And
full of shit.
and honestly, I think he's gonna turn heel. I think they're gonna try to turn him heel. And there's no the bald supervillains are the scariest supervillains. Look at Bane. Look at Lex
Lex
Luthor.
Luthor,
Look at
yeah.
yeah. Look at I don't know. Oh,
What
Thanos,
what if
Ultron, Doctor
did
Doom. Where's the Doctor Doom? I mean, his with his mask on, he's bald.
he's just Hood.
Kang, the Conqueror. I don't think he has any hair.
Did you say Thanos?
Thanos.
He doesn't have any
Um,
hair, but he's got that funny chin. That
Art the
humpback whale
Clown.
chin.
Yeah, Art the Clown doesn't have any hair. I'm looking at my Funkos to see who else doesn't have hair. That's a bad guy. Darth Vader.
Sharks?
Sharks, dude. I
Sharks
watched
aren't
this
lying to anybody.
crazy. I watched this crazy shark movie last night. Mickey's Mindset, TikTok and Instagram gave a full breakdown of dangerous animals. Dude, it's a shark movie. It's a shark serial killer movie.
That's fucking sick. So it's like Jaws.
Yeah. But the guy uses the sharks as the weapons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel like I saw the trailer of this.
Dude, it was wild.
You think someone could do that in real life if they wanted to?
100%. Jason Voorhees also doesn't have any hair.
It's true. Some of the
Yeah.
movies he doesn't even have a face. He's
Yeah.
just
Kane. Kane
mush.
didn't have any hair when he shaved when he took his mask off. And
No, when
he's a
he
villain.
was
He's a villain in WWE and in real life.
it's
So
true. Well, so let's get back to our truth for a sec because the guy's over and he's popular. And truth be told, we were truth.
uh,
Huh? We were going back and forth a little bit on what to talk about tonight, and we settled on kind of, just our truth, a little our truth show. When was the first time you saw him or remember seeing him like on TV or whatever?
the first time I remember seeing him on TV. Now I remember K Quick briefly a little bit. Now those of you that don't know, K Quick was what our truth's name was under um the WWE banner in the early 2000s. He made it.
Were they
I think we talked
WWF
about it.
still?
They were still WWF, and I think he made his debut as the tag team partner for Road Dogg, team with DX at one of the Survivor Series, and then after after a while, he was a singles competitor. I think he won the Hardcore Championship. Um, Yeah, he won the Hardcore Championship, but I don't think he held it very long. But I think that might have been the only championship he had in WWF was the Hardcore Championship back when it was, you could just pin anybody wherever. And I do remember him being involved in like when the WCW, ECW guys came over. And then I think he was let go with the large group of people that they let go to make room for the WCW guys.
For the WCW guys that nobody wanted.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you that. The three biggest names that they got out of that, I would think, well, Booker T, Buff Bagwell, Sean O'Hare, maybe.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they yeah, they got WCW guys, but except for Booker T, um, it was there. Those weren't really like it wasn't the real NWO,
No.
right? It wasn't Goldberg right away. Sting never showed up.
But the
DDP
NWO
showed
no
up
didn't
later.
NWO didn't show up until later too.
And then
NWO
putting
was
Shawn Michaels in it for like what, a month, or it
yeah,
was
but they
like,
didn't. But the NWO wasn't there until late 2002, early 2003. Same thing with Scott Steiner.
and
Goldberg
Goldberg.
was Backlash 2003. Um, which is crazy to think about because Goldberg was Backlash 2003, and then competed at WrestleMania 20 in 2004, and then just went away.
Yeah, he wasn't there for that long. Goldberg is one
No,
of those like anomalies where he was good. He was so good and so cool for like what he was meant to do.
yeah,
But it's kind of like I don't think anyone's saying Goldberg is the greatest of all time, but I mean, he's always booked strong, except for when he lost the title to the stun gun, but that was not his fault by any means.
yeah,
But it's like, you know, the whole match with William Regal. So there's like that element of, hey, maybe he can't do as much as a lot of other, you know. I don't want to go on a Goldberg tangent, but
yeah. Well,
anyways.
it's funny you said William Regal because I think that's who K Quick made his debut against.
Oh,
But
nice.
you asked me when the first time I remember seeing R Truth, and I remember seeing Ron the Truth Killings in TNA for the first time
Yup.
as part of Three Live Crew. And that was the tag team he was in with Conan and what was it, Road Dog or BG James.
Oh,
Um, and did you ever have Comcast?
no, at Dish Network.
So when you couldn't get TNA on, like, you couldn't watch it live when I was growing up. You had
Uh,
to watch it on
oh,
demand, and for
really? So
Comcast at
because
least.
remember watching TNA on Spike.
So, well, that was later on.
Okay, so you're talking early days like
This is early.
NWA TNA.
This is like 2003, 2004. This is when I still lived in Utah.
So this is right
Um,
after WCW closed
yeah,
and Ring of Honor was starting to pick up and all that kind of
and
stuff.
NWA TNA. Yeah, it was the early days of TNA still is when I started watching it. But you were only because I remember that's when my cousin Anthony showed me about. I found out about TNA because my cousin Anthony showed me Gurek.net, run by Steve Gurek, and that was the first dirt sheet that I ever found out about.
Nice.
And it was around that time, and from there, um, yeah, Ron Killings was one of my favorite people. I remember having they didn't have TNA toys, but I used to take my action figures if I had doubles of them and make them into TNA guys.
Oh
And
yeah.
I remember I had a Booker T wearing pants, and that was my Ron Killings
Very
action
cool.
figure. Um but yeah, and I just remember how cool it was to be able to watch TNA on demand whenever I wanted to. So I would even rewatch episodes of TNA with Jeff Hardy versus Abyss in the early days and things like that. But that was my first R Truth memory. But then you go into his TNA like full on. He was there until I think 2006, 2007. And I remember he had a really good match with Monty Brown. He
Dude,
I
it's
think pretty sure
crazy. I just had this
um
thought. It is
what?
crazy that like they're listeners of the podcast, friends of the podcast, like Brian and Michael, who I
Are you
don't
younger than
think
TNA?
who were maybe 2 years old when these matches
Mm-hmm.
were happening.
Yeah.
Friends of the podcast, who may be of the newer generation that myself and Miggy maybe don't know how to talk to because at this point we're old. Even though you were a teacher.
Yeah, I could still hang out with the youngins.
You can still okay, so how would you properly address them and ask them to watch some old school TNA? Like how would you speak their
Um,
language?
how would I? Okay, so we might want to clip this. Um, all right, youngins, let's talk the early. Let's talk the early days of TNA. It was awesome, no cap. Okay, TNA NWA was able to riz up the indie wrestling fan with all that skibbity toilet Ohio Riz and
Wow.
able to um I don't know, yeah, able to show us that cool thing that wrestling was.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeet.
Just yeah, go check that out.
Yeah. Um but
Remember he
anyway,
would do that super spin kick? It was like a Trouble in
yeah.
Paradise, but it was a lot quicker. It was
Yeah.
K quicker.
Well, I think he had well, I know he tag team with did he have did he I want to say he was with Xavier Woods and they were a tag team called Truth and Consequences for a little
That'd be
while.
sick. That'd be sick.
Because in TNA Xavier Woods went under the name Conscientious Creed
Consequent
or Consequentious Creed.
consequences.
Yeah. Um and then oh, you know what? Side note, Brie Bella called Stephanie Vacure like Stephanie Vacu tonight. So
Who did?
I'm
Who
not
did?
alone. Brie Bella or Nikki Bella.
Oh, well, it's
Um,
famously documented that she doesn't know how to read.
yes, that's fair. Uh, and then I remember he teamed with Pac-Man Jones too, who was the football player. I want to say he played for the Bengals, and that's why I like that because my dad was a Bengals fan. But I remember, yeah, and then I think that was it for him. He was never in TNA outside of that. He was never in TNA when it was on Spike TV
Oh,
because it
okay.
wasn't on Spike TV until 2010. June 4th of 2010, or not June 4th, January 4th of 2010 to be exact, was the very first
No,
day.
it couldn't have been that long
It
because
was.
I was watching it back in the SmackDown Fist days.
It
No
was Spike
cap.
TNA on Spike TV. I
The
want to say
ham
that's what it
show.
was. I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong.
No, what year? I want to know.
2005. So
Oh,
I'm wrong.
yes.
Thank God that was not a Trivia Titans question.
I
But
was
anyway,
just gonna say, time to book that match.
our truth um went into came back to WWE in 2008.
And I don't really remember him being used. Well, I don't want to say used. I just don't remember him doing a whole lot except for Lil Jimmy. And I don't think that was
I don't think
2008.
I don't think he got over until he was Little Jimmy. Because I think he was like even like I think before he was our truth he was like Ricky, or maybe he was our truth and then he became Ricky and then he went back to being our truth. Um, and then I think he was just like used on what I mean it's 2008, so maybe like Superstars, the early days of Superstars, or
Like
like
main
the
event,
Saturday,
that kind of thing.
yeah, like the Saturday morning show. I don't think he was big until he started. Um, I don't know when Little Jimmy was. Oh, you know what it was? I don't think he was big until he became until he partnered up with the Miz.
Really? Let's see. We're looking at ChatGPT. We're taking advantage. Well, at least I am. He called everyone Little Jimmys. I remember that. Everyone in the audience was Little Jimmys. It says 2011.
Well, I think
And
he was in the match against the Nexus in 2010. He was on Team WWE in 2010.
yeah, it
Or
says
he
here,
wasn't, or he like was he in the team against the Nexus, or was he? Because the Miz was supposed to be on the team against the Nexus, and then he said he's not going to be, but he was teaming with the Miz at that time.
was he on the Nexus? No, Lil Jimmy was never part of that. No, dude, I don't remember, but I think the Nexus wasn't that a bunch of new guys? Like that was the whole thing.
Yeah, no,
So I don't think
I
Truth would
think
have
he
been
was
on it.
on the I no, I wanted to The Miz was supposed to be no, Chris it was Chris Jericho versus
We don't know anything.
Nexus.
To be fair, not a good time to be a wrestling fan.
No. Well, I still have my Nexus shirt though.
And I was in high school. I was not focused on wrestling. I was focused on doing other things. And look at me now, I'm a three-time college dropout.
He was on the team. He was on the team against the Nexus.
All right.
Um, so that was 2010 because the Nexus didn't last very long because John Cena buried them. Justice for Wade Barrett. Um, but then yeah, and then I think he became a tag team partner like when even more so became bigger with the Little Jimmy stuff, obviously, and that's when he started to become a um comedic character.
So now that we've seen him attack John Cena, cut off his dreads, and little attitude change, name change, what's next? What
Well,
are his motivations?
I like oh, I don't know. I always liked him as a comedic character. I mean, I guess we don't really know him outside of a comedic character in WWE. Like, we really don't. I mean, it's been 15 years since the little Jimmy stuff. I mean, since then, he did the whole, um, what was it? He tag team with Kofi Kingston. He did the whole thing with The Miz over and over again. Gold Dust, the Golden
That's right.
Truth, and they were multiple time tag team champions.
You think
Um,
uh you think New Day and Truth hook up?
no.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt the New Day by any means.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I do think that were they tag team champions? I want to say that I remember
Golden Truth.
Golden Truth being the tag team champions, but I could be wrong. I do know that I mean he was a over 50 time 24/7 champion. I mean the whole 24/7 championship was basically the R Truth storyline.
Our Truth champion stats. Yeah, that title, talk about the world heavyweight title being created because Roman Reigns is too good. The
Yeah,
24/7 title was created for Our
for
Truth.
R Truth. But you know what too? I don't think his work with Carmella gets recognized enough either. I think
Oh
that he
no?
helped Carmella get over, and if Carmella never would have gotten pregnant, um, then which is not on her, obviously, but or well, you know what I mean. WWE should have brought her back and put her back with R Truth. Is what I'm trying to say.
Check this out. These are his championships. United States Championship. We didn't mention that. Two times. Raw Tag Team Champion, once with The Miz and one with Kofi. Hardcore Champ, two times. 24/7 Champ. A record 54 reigns, totaling 425 combined days.
Well,
Mixed Match Challenge Season 2 winner with Carmella, like you mentioned. Slammy Awards, he's got two of them. PWI Tag Team of the Year in 2012 with Kofi Kingston as part of Boom
really?
Jimmy.
Okay. Well, let me then. That should go to show you that that was a terrible time to be watching professional wrestling. If Kofi
Exactly.
Kingston
So
and
don't. Yeah.
Kofi Kingston and R Truth as Boom Jimmy was the tag team of the year when you had tag teams out there in TNA, like the Motor City Machine Guns, and what 2012.
Beer money.
That is beer money. That's the end of beer money. Is 2012.
You had
Um,
were aces and eights then, or was that later?
that was Aces and Eights was the middle of 2012 is when it started. I only know this because that was the last time that TNA was in Phoenix, and that was at that show where Beer Money broke up and fought each other.
It is interesting though because they were tag team of the year in that was what 2012. I said. Let's
Yeah.
see, 2012. Didn't the Usos debut in 2011?
Yeah.
So,
Somewhere
damn,
around there.
that's kind of cool
2011,
that
2013, 2012, somewhere around there.
wow, just cool to
But
kind of see the
even
progress of where things are.
2012 tag team champions. Hold on, now
Well,
we're on a
let's
tangent.
no, you're okay. Let's get back to where you think he's going to go from here. Like, what do you think the story is? Is he a thorn in John Cena's side? Maybe does he join John Cena? Like, I don't know, backstage, maybe John Cena talks some sense into him and says, "You're not a joke anymore because I beat it out of you or whatever."
Team Hell No was in 2012, and you're gonna tell me that that was a better. But hold on, look at the three WWE Tag Team Champions that were the three championship reigns of 2012. Primo and Epico, Boom Jimmy in Team Hell No. So you know what? All right,
Not a good time to be a wrestling fan.
not a good time to be a
There was a
wrestling fan.
butterfly championship belt. So, buddy, answer my fucking question.
Where is he gonna go next?
Yes.
Um, they gotta have him go against John Cena again, or at least maybe Logan Paul.
Hmm.
I would like if they're gonna have him go against John Cena again, and we're almost done. Oh my God, this is like one of these tag teams. They're gonna.
You
Oh,
know what? Who
no,
is
hold
it?
on, hold on,
Who
hold
are
on.
the tag teams?
If they're gonna go against, if he's gonna go against John Cena again, I need him to. I need to see the Doctor of Thugonomics versus Ron the Truth Killings in a rap battle. Because all of that would be better than any tag team that was in TNA at the time, just thrown together. With the exception of the 1 month title reign of AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, you had
Damn.
Magnus and Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. Actually, that's a pretty good tag team. That I'll give them that.
SCU.
And then Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez winning the championships here in Phoenix against the tag team of AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. I remember that match. Um,
What a cool tag team. AJ and Kurt
yeah.
Angle.
Um, Man, yeah. All right. Anyway, they have to have him go against John Cena, right? They have to.
That's what makes us so hard because they just threw
Or the
Punk and
Miz.
Cena at us. That's true, dude. Cena and The
We
Miz
never had
have
a Miz.
history, and The Miz is nowhere to be found. Or are you talking Miz and Truth?
Miz and Truth. We've never had backwards before either.
Okay.
We've never had a heel R Truth and a
Babyface Miz.
babyface Miz.
Dude, we're not getting any Miz very much. That kind of makes me sad now that I think about it.
Yeah, probably not. Because he's well, you know why though? It's because he's doing Clash of the Titans or whatever the show is that he's doing. Some American Ninja Warrior or American Gladiator. I don't know, one of those shows.
You remember when oh, who was he talking shit to in the ring? It was some champion, and he was like, I was very serious when I won that title, and I haven't been serious in a long time. And it was like, do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
I remember they talked about it on Busted Open, and it was like, who was he talking to? I think it was whoever the WWE or IC champion was at the time. If you're listening to this and you know what I'm talking about, let me know. But the Miz got super angry because someone was. It might have even
It
been
had to be Daniel
Gunther.
Bryan.
No, it was against a dude who was bigger than him, or like
Yeah,
more like
probably Gunther.
physical. He was like pushing the Miz around, kind of like
Yeah,
bullying him a little
then probably Gunther.
bit. Now we're going on Miz tangents. Look at us, buddy.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know where they go with R-Truth. I'm excited to see it, and that's why I think we needed to talk about R-Truth because he 53 years old. Maybe this is the time R-Truth gets a championship run.
There's no way R-Truth beats Cena for that title in his last match. Because I think we both agree Cena's going to hold that belt until his last match. Do you think he loses it before he's gone for good?
John Cena.
Yep.
Um, no.
You know what happens? So who's he beaten? He's beat Cody. He's beaten Randy, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't seen Randy Orton since he lost.
Yeah, we haven't.
Cena's about to beat CM Punk. Probably pretty bad, so then we're not going to see CM Punk.
Which is stupid. This is not when he should have lost it to CM Punk at the very end.
What's going to happen is I bet Cody is going to win it back in December. It the Ruthless Aggression pay-per-view that they haven't talked about. Cody's going to win it back, but what's going to happen is all of the people that Cena has taken out along the way, R-Truth, Randy, CM Punk, all these guys from his past, they're all baby faces. They all want to bring out they've all been pissed off at who John Cena's become. They know he's not that. Dude, he's about to deck Cody with the belt again, retire, go home with his title, and all these baby faces one by one. It's like an overbooked finish, but they just walk out to the ring and they're, please, John, no,
Like they did with
don't do it, John.
with Heath Slater when they brought all the legends back.
That's pretty much what's happening, just long version.
Yeah.
Just long
Well,
term storytelling.
well, how much time do we got left? Because I have the perfect segue
5
to end
minutes,
it.
buddy. Yeah.
So we can end it here because this is what I do you remember what happened when WWE bought ECW and revived it? What happened to ECW?
Well, at first it was like the coolest thing ever, and it
Hmm.
very quickly was not that.
And then it lost all of its essence, right? They loaded it up with WWE guys, try to make it extreme, quote unquote.
Zombies.
The zombie, the vampires. Shout out Shelly Martinez. We're gonna see her on June 28th at the
Owie.
LAX Fan Fest. Um, which I tell you, I'm staying in Newport Beach the whole entire time, and then
Oh hell
driving
yeah,
up to LA.
we were just at Balboa yesterday. Got ourselves some chocolate frozen bananas.
Is it cool? Like, am I gonna like being over there? Because yeah, I figured we would just drive because we have to be in Newport anyway Friday. I'm like, you know what? I got a discount in a hotel room. We're gonna just stay there the whole entire time
Dude,
and drive
Newport's
up to LA.
awesome. I'm a sucker for the beaches because I love them.
All right,
So
we could talk about it
yeah,
another time, but I guess that was
now I
also
got
me
now I
letting
got three.
that was me letting you know my plans. Um, but anyway, I could see them doing the same thing with Triple A, and by the end of the year, we have El Grande Americano, El Cafe Crunch Americano
Espresso.
with a shot of espresso and 3 pumps of caramel, taking on Our Verdad, which
What's
is
that?
truth in Spanish, according to Google Translate. For the
So
AAA Mega Championship slash for the WWE Mega Championship.
for the WWE AAA Championship
Yeah. Taking place in New Mexico.
on the shores of the Gulf of
Yeah.
America. Oh no, wait, New
Jeez.
Mexico doesn't have the Gulf.
No.
That starts in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a pretty good time.
That was fun. We were all over the place and I loved it.
Yeah. Our programming is going to be a little bit different because your boys got some plans and it's Father's Day weekend. So there might be one less episode this week. I don't know. Stick with it and,
Yeah.
you know, just chill out. I know you all are chomping at the bit for more content. Oh my gosh, we can't pump out enough content for all you people out
Uh,
there.
Follow us everywhere. HITF Pod.
Yeah. Take it easy, buddy.